Alrighty, let's get into this video of engulfing theory by me, Lara Summers, to actually learn the basics. Alright, so what am I going to teach you in this video? Whoops. As I promised you, the basics, right? So especially for newbies and beginners who just joined 1% Cloud Society or who is new to the Engulfing Scholars platform. So you will know what we use. This is the main strategy we use, which is engulfing theory. So what is engulfing? What is engulfing by an engulfing cell, and how to actually map these on your charts. All right. I'll also give you a bonus at the very end, so stay tuned for that. Okay. So starting off with what is engulfing, I'm going to abbreviate it as EG because that's what I use and that's how I say it also in my analysis that I give you every single day. All right. So EG engulfing, what is it? By definition, it means to eat or devour, right? So it has to eat the previous candle wholly, fully. To understand this and actually see it, you have to know what it looks like. So you have to understand the candlestick's anatomy. So let's start off with the bicandle, all right? This is going to be great for the beginners. All right, so for a bicandle, this is just your ordinary candlestick of a bi, okay? So because it's a bicandle, the opening of the candle will be below because you go bi high, right? Bi goes high. So the opening of the candle has to be down low, then closing of the candle is up top. Whatever is between the opening and the closing, we call it the body. All right, then we have the wicks, which we call it the high and the low, right? And if we were to do it on the cell candle also, you just switch it. Right? Switch it between the opening and the closing. Then you will get the opening over here, the closing down below, then you have the high and the low, and of course the body, which is everything in between the opening and the closing. All right? So again, bi goes high, cell goes low. All right? So get that because we will be focusing on the closing of the candles, right? As I teach in my webinars and everything, we always focus on the closing of the candles, but you don't have to mind this. Just keep in mind that it is very important in case for the next videos to come and also in the webinars. All right, so now that you have the anatomy, we go to how do you actually see it on the charts. All right, so let's start with engulfing by. I'm going to abbreviate this as EB. All right, EB engulfing by. Now, with the engulfing by meanings, the buyers have to eat the sellers. So when we put that into candle talk, a buy candle has to eat the sell candle, right? So if I were to draw it, let's just put a sell candle like this, and then we have a buy candle like this, right? To eat meaning it has to close above the high of the previous candle. Okay? The high of the previous candle. That's why I say the closing is very important because the closing of the candle has to close above the previous candle's high. All right? So this was our sell candle's high. If I were to give you other examples, because sometimes you don't see just this on the charts, right? You see a lot of candles, multiple candles that it takes to eat. So you might see it like this. You might have 1, 2, 3, finally, that eats the candle over here, right? Closing of the candle is above the previous candle's high. Now, although this is not the actual previous candle, because this is the same power, the same movement, we will merge this into one candle, which you can kind of see it like this, if you kind of merge it together. All right? But because it's the same power, same movement, same buyers, we take it as one movement. Then this has to eat the cell high, the cell's high. All right? If it has a breaking, right? You see this has 3 candles going. If I were to put a red candle over here, stopping it, this would no longer be an engulfing by because we had a break in the momentum in the movement. All right. Now, how do you exactly mark an engulfing? Right? You have to mark the candle that was eaten from top to bottom. Meaning, if I were to map out this engulfing by, I have to drag from this to this point and I drag it out as my zone. Right? This will be my engulfing by zone because this area was the portion that the buyers overpowered the sellers. Okay? In this example also, if I were to draw it, top to bottom of the candle that got eaten, and you drag it out. Then you have your engulfing buy. Okay, same thing goes with engulfing sell. I will abbreviate that to ES. Right? So engulfing sell, sellers have to eat the buyers. Now for the buyers, we had the buy candle had to close above the high, right? The sellers have to close below the low. So I have a jingle kind of for you to remember, okay? So buy eats high. Let's just do buy eats high and sell eats low. Okay, this is for you to remember for the engulfings. Again, buy eats high. Buy eats high, sell eats low. Okay, so if I were to draw it for the engulfing sell, because the sellers have to eat the buyers, then we have to start off with a buy candle. And the sellers have to close below the low, like this, closing below the buy candle's low. Okay, if I were to give you other examples, let's say we have a buy candle like this, and we have a sell candle like this. And if I were to add the wicks, let's say our sell candle did not have any wicks. It was just one strong candle like this, okay? But the buy candle had a very long wick like this. This will not be considered as an engulfing sell because this candle did not close below the buy's candle's low. But as the market moves on, let's say we have another sell candle coming in. We have another sell candle that does this. Because this is the same movement, we merge it together and it kind of becomes one, right? So this sell candle closed below this buy candle's low. Hence, this is an engulfing sell. Now, how do I mark it again? Again, from top to bottom of the candle that got eaten. Take this for an example. Because this buy candle got eaten, I will mark from top to bottom and drag it out like this. For this example, again, top to bottom, and I drag it out. And now you have your zones for engulfing buys and engulfing sells. Okay, so now we have 2 out of 3. And we have how to map also. That's 3. 3 out of 3. Now, before I move on to the bonus, I am going to show you how to map on the charts. Let's just go to my charts. I'm actually monitoring the pair that I gave you for AU because H4 just recently broke my engulfing sell. But let's just go to another screen. Another clean screen and delete all of this. If I were to mark, right, especially for newbies, if you were watching this, go to your charts and map out every single engulfing buy and engulfing sell that you can see, right? Just to check if you are doing it right. If I were to map an engulfing sell, first one, right? Because my sell candle closed below my buy candle's low. If I keep going, this is also an engulfing sell. My buy candle got eaten by this sell candle. The sell candle closed below my buy's low. If I were to map this, this becomes an engulfing buy because it took 1, 2, 3 of the buy candles to close above my buy candle's high. So it becomes an engulfing buy. So this is the one you merge, right? Because it's one movement, but it took 3 candles. Doesn't matter if this continues. If it continues, that means it has a strong volume, strong momentum. But it took 3 candles to eat my sell candle. All right, another example, just to make sure you actually get it. Okay, let me take an example of this, right? We also have this as an engulfing buy. Because it took 1, 2, 3 to close above my sell candle's high. Engulfing buy. Now let's try to find something that is not an engulfing, okay? Not an engulfing. Now, okay, let's take this for example. If I were to mark it, this is not an engulfing because we have our sell candle over here. Although the wick is very long, but the closing of the candle did not close below my buy candles low. So this is not an engulfing, nor is it an engulfing sell. Okay, that's basically it. Pretty easy, right? Pretty easy. Now for the bonus, I'm just going to give you a bonus on the time frames, right? When I mark, especially when you hear me talk about my analysis, I always tell you to switch down to a lower time frame, pair this with that, da 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 da. So how I actually do it is, if I am marking on a weekly candle, I usually use the weekly candle at the start of the week just to see where is it going, where can it actually test, especially for volatile pairs. So if I'm mapping on the weekly time frame, I will pair it with H4 as my smaller time frame. Now the smaller time frame is where I get my confirmation and my entry, right? If I map it on the daily, I will pair it with either M30 or H1. Okay, but I always follow the higher time frame first, meaning after I map out my daily, and if I were to get my confirmations or entries, I will look first for the H1. If I can't find anything, then I will switch to M30. Last but not least, H4. This is the least I go down to. Okay, I don't really do M30, I don't do H1, but H4. I like big pips, big movements. Okay, so H4 I paired with either M5 or M15. Yet once again, I always pair it with the higher time frame. So I will go with M15 first, and if I cannot find anything, then I will switch down to M5. Okay, so that's it for the bonus. That's it for this. That's actually it for this video. That's the basic of it. I hope you understood more, and let me know in the comments what else you want, and if you have any questions, and I will get to answering. Okay? Talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.